Alright, another video, yet another video tonight on the correlations between Satan and Pan and or the metaphysics and or mythology, however you want to see it. And I talked in my last video about how it's not really Pan per se, but I believe mythology. Because this is just kind of like me rambling on. Oh no. Oh yes, because that's what I do. Let's talk about how Satan doesn't exist in the St. James Version of the Bible until Job. Okay. And I talked about this in my first video tonight. But I said I was going to get back to it, and here it is. Well, okay, Satan doesn't exist until halfway through the Bible, not until Job. And so therefore, Adam and Eve, you know, they're in the Garden of Eden, and then there's the snake, right? And then you know, basically God's watching them, or my deal on this is that Satan doesn't exist, people, until halfway through the Bible. That's fact, until Job. And that's well after Adam and Eve and the snake in the Garden of Eden. So the question is that who was the snake? That's the question. Who was the snake? Who was the snake indeed? That is the question. You know, nowhere in this Bible that I'm looking at right here, and see, I have the Bible, St. James Version. Nowhere in this Bible does it say that the snake was Satan. No, it doesn't say that. Once again, Satan is not mentioned until halfway through the Bible. But it does say this, okay. After the deal with Adam and Eve eating of the fruit, God goes to, I mean, we can only guess that it's the snake, right? Because it's the only thing around. I mean, God must be talking to the snake. Well, I will tell you that it's in Genesis 2:10. Section 21. It says, the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. And the Lord said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. One of us. Keywords, one of us. Who is he talking to? Well, the only thing around is the snake. I'm only to assume that it's the snake, unless you want to get into Hinduism and say, oh, well, that, you know, obviously God was like, you know, Brahma in Hinduism, where he eventually split into Shiva and what's the other one? Shiva and the other one. The preserver, Vishnu. Some Hindus might say that. But let's just not assume that, okay? Because then we can get into multiple personalities, and that's just confusing. Anyhow, little joke. Anyhow, no. He's just talking to the snake. That's the only thing around. Once again, he says, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. Okay, well, there you go. Live forever. I mean, that concept, it's like a constant worry. Live forever, right? I mean, that's paralleling Dionysus. But Dionysus, which parallels Jesus, was not there, right? In the beginning part of the Bible, Adam and Eve and the snake. No, Jesus, we're going to only assume, did not exist then either, even in Christianity. So therefore, it must be the snake that he's talking to, and the snake is not Satan, because Satan doesn't exist until halfway through Job. And remember, this is still a story, so therefore, time and timeline is very important. And by the way, talking about time and timeline, who was Zeus's father? Kronos, the god of time. So yes, this does all connect. But who is the snake? Now we're still posed with that question. If it's not Satan, who is the snake? Well, he does say one of us. So therefore, the snake must be in power. I mean, I'm sorry. It must be, I would just assume, equal in power to God. Because he says one of us. He's including it. Either that or think about this. What about this? the snake, he could say one of us if the snake was part of his family. If the snake existed as, for example, paralleling, you know, his brother, whatever else. Once again, Zeus and Hades, we're back to that. If not, who was the snake? Can't be Satan, right? Maccabees or whatever believed that the snake was feminine energy. Also, other places in mythology, the snake was symbolic to feminine energy. Very, very divine. I mean, we get the snake eating his tail to connote eternity. And what does this God comment say? Once again, I will repeat it once again. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever. We get the same symbology. In Stragiri or Italian witchcraft, the snake is eating its tail, connoting, you know, eternity, connoting that there is no disconnection. I mean, the things we see, death, for example, is not a disconnection of life. It's just merely a continuance. It's just some kind of transformation. That's all it is. That death, that ending is just an illusion. So, but in order to accept that it's an illusion, you must know that it's an illusion. You must know